THC cannabis products are very likely to be banned in Texas soon. From CBS News, a bill banning THC passed in the Texas House late Wednesday night. In a 95 to 44 vote, Senate Bill 3 passed in the House banning all THC products. Adults would face up to a year in jail for possessing any THC product. THC is an $8 billion industry in Texas. Critics have said that many local businesses will be impacted by the ban. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who championed the bill, thanked lawmakers for passing the bill and said it's about protecting kids and adults. It always goes back to this stupid shit when it comes to restricting what grown adults can or can't do. Think of the kids. There could be children who could get their hands on products containing THC. Are there instances of children taking substances that they're too young to have in their bodies? Of course, many. I remember a friend I had in middle school telling me that when his parents weren't around, he took one of his dad's cigarettes and lit it and smoked it. He told me he didn't like it very much, so he didn't have any inclination to try it again, so that's something, I suppose. But the bottom line is, this kid, and I am sure many kids out there, have careless parents that leave packs of cigarettes lying around when they're not around, that their kids could very easily get their hands on. Does that mean there also needs to be protocol to ban cigarettes, a significantly more harmful substance than cannabis, by the way? No, we recognize that the substance is not to blame, but rather the stupid fucking parents who left the substance lying there for their kids to easily consume. Now look, I can't get too much on my high horse when it comes to this because I myself first started smoking weed at age 15, so I guess you could say that's a parental failure right there. And this was well before New York legalized weed. It was only considered decriminalized back then. But guess what? Even if weed and other products containing THC in general was fully legal in New York back then, me smoking weed would still be illegal because here in New York you have to be 21 or older in order to legally smoke weed or take any other substances of the sort. And that is all the intervention a state government should do when it comes to substances that people willingly want to put in their bodies. I find it funny that the dumb fuck lieutenant governor also said, yeah, this is to protect adults as well. Protect them from what? They made the conscious decision to buy a product that contains THC because they likely want to experience the high that THC provides. If they are a grown adult buying, possessing, and or selling these products to other grown adults, why should I give a fuck? What substances they wish to possess and consume is none of my business and is certainly not the business of any crusty old lawmaker who still buys into reefer madness propaganda that cannabis is a gateway drug that'll hook you onto heroin and other more dangerous drugs that we need to protect anyone of all ages from. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, even when it comes to hard drugs like heroin, meth, cocaine, fentanyl, if one wants to do those drugs, I don't fucking care. Not that I say I condone the usage of those drugs. I'm just saying, who the fuck am I to be an authority when it comes to what one can or can't put in their own body? And I don't believe anyone is besides the one who is choosing to do those drugs. I have never heard a good argument when it comes to making drugs illegal. When it comes to the hard drugs I mentioned, yes, they're addictive. Yes, they can ruin your life. But who was the one who put those horrible drugs in their body in the first place? Oh, right, they themselves who made the conscious decision to do so. Unless, of course, they were forcefully drugged against their will with said substance, and that's how they got hooked, which is already a criminal offense on its own and should remain as such. But when it comes to grown adults making the conscious decision to put these substances in their bodies, I don't see any reason for the state to step in and for law enforcement to step in and throw these people in jail cells. But people can act erratic or violent or make stupid decisions while on said substances. People go out and drive while drunk, or they get violent while they're drunk, and if someone gets harmed or even killed because of the actions of someone who was under the influence of alcohol, that was the fault of the person who was under the influence, not of alcohol itself. That doesn't mean we should be making calls to ban alcohol and jail people for consuming and possessing it, because yeah, that worked out so well the first time around. But I know what this THC ban really is at the end of the day. It's to keep the prison industrial complex going, continue to justify the exorbitant amount of money this country pours into private prisons. And these private prisons and private jails that all of these politicians that are all on board with this THC ban are likely lobbied by make and receive more money the more prisoners they have in them. It's an industry that more often than not targets people in lesser fortunate communities, and also more often than not people of color within these communities. And they know that most of society won't bat an eye because most of society is conditioned to view these people as quote-unquote low-class thugs, and therefore they don't care when these people are thrown and left to rot in prison because, oh no, they were found with some weed on them. How egregious. And because cannabis isn't as ingrained into our culture as, say, cigarettes and alcohol is, there are still so many fucking dimwits out there in this country who think weed is comparable to heroin or meth or is a gateway drug to those drugs. Case in point, my own mother, for as much as I love her, still buys into that bullshit. Anyway, because there is still so much ignorance and misconceptions surrounding cannabis, that makes it easier to get away with imposing ridiculous bans like this, and throwing people in cells for possessing products that contain THC, because they know at the end of the day the backlash is something they can sustain. And yes, I know this ban only applies to products that contain THC. Cannabis products that only have CBD will remain untouched, for now at least. But even still, restricting grown adults on what substances they can or can't put into their bodies will never not be fucking ridiculous to me. Especially if said substance is comparatively less harmful to your health than much more ubiquitous substances, like say cigarettes or alcohol, and those who are hooked on said substances deserve treatment and not a jail cell. Land of the free, right? Oh, and fuck Texas, shithole state. This passed their House, their Senate, and now is going over to Greg Abbott's desk. And I have no doubt this will pass because, come on, it's Greg fucking Abbott. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.